Boeing is the world's largest airplane maker, also the biggest exporter of products in our country, so we want them to do well. But this agreement reached recently to sell jetliners to Iran, the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, bothers a lot of people. It's going to be a big deal. I mean, we know the U.S. manufacturing. It's going to be the biggest one they've had. Anybody's done with them since Iran, since the sanctions have been eased. But the $25 billion is worse than your typical crony capitalism deal. We're going to discuss it now with Kelly Riddell, Lisa Boothe, and Danielle DiMartino Boothe. Kelly Riddell, let me start with you. Thomas Pickering, he's a respected diplomat, a former ambassador to Israel and the United Nations, close to the Obama administration, was taking money from Boeing while openly advocating for these kind of deals. I mean, this is the kind of thing that people, the double dealing kind of thing that people just frustrated with.
Yeah, and he never disclosed his association with Boeing or that he was on Boeing's payroll. He testified on behalf of Congress for the Iranian deal. He wrote op-eds in the Washington Post and other outlets. He wrote letters to other diplomats trying to persuade this deal to go through. It is crony capitalism, and if you look back in July, Bloomberg News had a report talking about how the Iranian fleet was dilapidated, and that this could mean, if the sanctions were lifted, this could mean a big boon for either Airbus or Boeing. So if you don't think that this was baked into the cake come the fall, I've got news for you. And Democrats and Republicans are equally to blame. Boeing is a big giver both to the Democratic Party and to the Republican Party, and they've also worked with the Chamber of Commerce on the Export-Import Bank. So this
Right.
just doesn't smell good.
That's an issue, Danielle, I want to ask you about, the Export-Import Bank. Boeing has been the largest recipient of help overall, even though when you hear people who argue for it say it helps small businesses. Maybe it does through subcontracts, but it feels like they get to this amazing preferential treatment that they don't necessarily need, and then these sort of deals happen.
Yeah, I think that this gives us a flavor, Charles, for what's to come if Clinton enters the White House this January. This type of crony capitalism, these types of deals, helping to, put a floor underneath the biggest players in corporate America. I think that we should expect more of the same, and I think that we should put our hands up and say no more as well. So the small business argument, I think, is a straw man. Yeah,
Lisa, here's the thing. We've seen this over and over and over again. And again, when you have a large corporation like Boeing, they do give to both parties. And we keep hearing the outrage. And do you think this cycle, this really vicious cycle of big business in Washington, D.C. going hand in hand at the expense of the public, do you think it can ever be broken?
I don't. And look, we've seen a lot of crony capitalism, particularly under the Obama administration. Just look at Obamacare. But what I think is interesting is that Thomas Pickering also used to work for the Clinton administration. And I think it's interesting that this is out there now at a time when there's been heightened scrutiny and a heightened focus on Hillary Clinton, especially the Clinton Foundation's connection with foreign entities. You look at something like Uranium One, a deal that Hillary Clinton herself at the State Department approved, which essentially gave Russia ownership of 20% of U.S. uranium assets. Well, guess what? 9 shareholders have given over $145 million to the Clinton Foundation. You look at a big donor like Raj Fernando. Hillary Clinton got him a special clearance and put him on an intelligence board looking at nuclear assets, even though he has done nothing in the field. So you look at all these shady connections with foreign entities in the Clinton administration or the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton herself, and I just think it's a little bit ironic that this guy as well had formerly worked for the Clinton administration and has that Clinton connection.
Well, you know what, though? There's been so many of them. I don't know if we can use the word irony. Danielle, real quick, please.
No, I want to add on to the irony that he also had his hands on the Benghazi situation.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking about national security here and corporate interests coming before that. You don't want to hear these. You don't want to see these kinds of headlines.
People making this kind of money while working for government, the so-called government servants, is just despicable. Thanks a lot, ladies. Really appreciate it.